Hello, and welcome to another episode of Brettcast Movie and TV Talk. So keeping this intro as short as possible, I'm going to be doing a breakdown of the CinemaSins video, Everything Wrong with Transformers in 7 minutes or less. I'll be going over each sin and explaining it as much in depth as I can, if the original sin warrants that, and let's get started.
It takes two studios to deal with the ego of Michael Bay.
Well, it was not the usual this many seconds of logos sin, but it still isn't a funny joke and still isn't a sin of the movie.
Before time began, there was the cube.
That's not what the Bible says.
The religious joke that also isn't funny and isn't a sin of the movie.
English, please.
This dude is a racist.
Okay, I'll give you credit here. That was pretty racist of him to act that way to his fellow soldier, but this ain't a sin of the movie.
The sun goes down completely between the time this bogey chopper is 5 miles out and when it arrives at the base.
I'll give you this one too. It shouldn't take a helicopter that long to travel 5 miles.
The ice is freezing faster than it's melting!
What?
Yes, this line makes no actual sense, but I think this line is more supposed to be one of those pick up the pace type of lines. But this still isn't a sin of the movie just because you're confused.
This car drove itself on the lot and no one noticed.
If you actually look at the car dealership, you'll see that there aren't that many people around anyways.
Bernie Mac is dead and that sucks.
Yes, he is, and yes, it's sad, but how is that a sin of the movie exactly?
I get that Bumblebee is Sam's guardian sent ahead by the Autobots to protect him, but how would he have done that if Sam hadn't just happened to be buying a car at this point in his life?
I would assume that since when Optimus Prime arrives on Earth, he specifies that the glasses that Sam has that were his grandfather's from back when Megatron imprinted the map to the Allspark on them, that they know that Sam has them and they have been keeping tabs on Sam's life and found the opportune time to make an appearance and get closer to Sam.
And the only real lead we have so far is this sound.
That base had no cameras, and how does the military not have a satellite pointed at this super important base they can go pull images from?
The way that he says this and the subtitles say it are very different. He says it with the tone of assumption, but the subtitles have a question mark after the first sentence. So which is it? Are you assuming or asking if the base didn't have cameras? I would assume that there are cameras around the base, but not everywhere.
We're dealing with a very effective weapon system that we have not come across before.
The US government would never reveal this kind of information to the public.
I don't really know my politics and government stuff that well, but I would again have to give credit here and agree that the government probably would cover up something like this if it were actually happening. And for as long as possible, too, until something really bad happened.
This baby knows all too well that the father she doesn't know could be hurt, missing, or killed. Whatever those things mean.
This is supposed to be funny, and also isn't a sin of the movie.
I got no communication with Ariel.
Well, Ariel is probably busy. Have you tried Merman?
Not a funny joke, and not a sin of the movie.
It's a lake. Public property.
Just because it's a lake doesn't mean it's public property.
I mean, if there were houses surrounding the lake that were owned by individuals, then yeah, that is not public property. But the property next to the lake here looks more like a park, which in most cases are public property, at least I think.
I sure am glad we get to see Sam's football tryout, or none of this witty banter would have made any sense.
I for one think that the small football tryout scene could have been cut and the banter between Sam and the other guys still would have made sense.
When Bumblebee transforms into a robot, what happens to the Biatch air freshener?
This is just a pointless question and isn't a sin of the movie.
Are you new to school?
There's no way this girl has been in the same school with Sam for 10 years and doesn't know who he is and that he's in the same class with.
That's the point. Sam is making all this up to make it seem like they've always been in the same class and not noticed each other. So I'll give you credit here again.
I know Bumblebee is the one making the car breakdown, but why the hell was Sam on this dirt road in the first place? It leads to a cliff.
Okay, you win here again. I don't really get it either, other than that maybe Sam just picked up a direction and drove that way so he could make talk with Michaela.
Michaela goes from trying to help Sam fix his car to bailing and leaving him there in the span of about 3 seconds.
Well, Michaela is supposed to be one of those popular girls, and those girls usually don't want to stand out in the blistering heat helping some guy they just met fix their car, even if they have the mechanical know-how. Just guessing.
Passenger door left open, but then mysteriously closed in the next shot.
Hey, you pointed out an actual thing in the movie. Good job.
This is way too smart for Iranian scientists.
Wow, this movie is really very racist.
Yes, you've already pointed that out once, and yes, I do agree, but this isn't a sin of the movie.
The stereo gets on Air Force One how again?
They actually don't show how Frenzy managed to get aboard, but I guess it has something to do with blending in as a stereo.
Oncoming flight attendant somehow completely misses Transformer lurking behind this dude's chair.
Frenzy hid right as the guy looked up, so the guy didn't see it anyway.
Can you wrangle me up some ding-dongs, darling?
Haha, George Bush was stupid.
Another joke that isn't a sin of the movie and isn't funny.
Also, if this f***ing robot is trying to sneak down into the cargo area to hack the network, but is able to sneak into the plane's main cabin before it takes off, why didn't he just go ahead and go on down to the cargo area in the first place?
Because to get to the cargo area, you have to take the elevator down, and the elevator was on a different floor at the time, so Frenzy had to start on the floor the elevator was on to get to said elevator and then go down to the cargo area.
So wait, the best way for the Decepticons to find out about Project Iceman was to sneak aboard Air Force One and hack its computers?
Yes, because Blackout was trying to get the same information from the server at the military base in the beginning of the movie, but had you been watching the movie, you would have noticed that the connection was cut and Blackout didn't get the information from there. So then Barricade and Frenzy would have been deployed, and what a better way to get information on government secrets than on Air Force One.
Sneaky robot alien insults the audience a second time by leaving Air Force One in plain view without being seen.
Credit here again because yes, Frenzy would be clearly visible to everyone, but no one sees it. Because CGI.
These dogs only get upset when they get noticed.
They're guard dogs, meant to keep people out of places.
Round cylinders, the #1 defense against angry dogs that just destroyed a brick wall chasing after you.
How are we supposed to know how sturdy that wall was, or how well anchored the hooks for the leashes to connect to are? I don't think Sam made that poor of a choice. Like winning a war is usually about getting the higher ground first.
The only countries with this kind of capability are Russia, North Korea, maybe China.
Okay, so now according to this movie, North Korea is as much of a threat as Russia or China when it comes to hacking.
Google North Korea's hacking abilities. Results include dangerously good, beyond imagination, and those are tied to links to articles published in 2018. Now the video came out in 2013 and the movie in 2007. But if their hacking abilities now are this good, they were probably getting there in 2013 and not too awful in 2007.
North Korea doubling its naval activity.
Or what is known in North Korea as a Tuesday.
Another not funny joke that isn't a sin of the movie.
So far, the Decepticons have had reasons for showing up in certain places, but this Scorpion shows up for pretty much no reason at all, except that there hasn't been a good action scene since the beginning of the movie.
That's actually not true. Scorponok's purpose for showing up here is because these soldiers are survivors of the base attack and know who Blackout is, not by name obviously, therefore have fought against him and could have a strategy against the Decepticons that would hinder their plan. So Scorponok is here to wipe them out so they can't give the humans an edge against the Decepticon.
These highly trained soldiers are blind to
You are correct here. There are clearly 3 soldiers looking directly in the direction of Scorponok.
I don't know what he's saying, but it's not what we're hearing.
Friggin' ridiculous!
Yes, the action is louder than the dialogue, not a sin of the movie though.
There's only one hacker in the world who can break this code.
No, let's not inform the government there might be one person who can hack the code. Let's just put it on this possibly traceable disk and sneak out to go find the guy.
Alright, yeah, I can give you this too. I don't understand why this lady didn't think that every piece of technology she is using is being monitored in case someone tries to make a copy of the signal that hacked the government in so many seconds. That kind of thing could be bad in the hands of bad people. So yeah, this lady is very stupid. The right thing to do would be to go to the person in charge, tell them about the person you know so they can bring them in to solve the signal riddle quicker.
Also, the really super impossible to break code fits on a 2GB memory card?
A joke that isn't a sin of the movie.
The popular hot girls would never be caught dead eating together at Burger King.
An almost funny joke that isn't a sin of the movie.
Why does Bumblebee do nothing and wait while Sam gets terrorized by the cop robot instead of rescuing him right away?
Considering that B was back at Sam's house, drive time and traffic, I have no doubt that B is tracking Sam's every move, but he's not going to break cover here.
Daytime to nighttime in mere seconds, for the second time in the movie.
Dang it, you got one again. Yes, this is the second time this happens in the movie.
So Bumblebee f***ed up this police car robot, but we were stuck watching Comedy Relief Robot get his ass kicked by Sam.
While moving the action away from Bee and Barricade makes things less exciting, it also shows us how Sam and Michaela would handle a crazy scenario like this one. I will agree, I would rather have seen more of Bee and Barricade's fight, but that is not a sin of the movie, just a personal thing.
DeWalt, so tough it'll cut through a transformer.
Product placement joke, that isn't funny, it isn't a sin of the movie.
I don't understand the talk through the radio thing. I mean, is he finding all these clips on actual radio stations live? Because what station is playing John Wayne quotes? And if he's able to just use any old clip, then why is it so much harder apparently for him to just speak like a regular robot?
Okay, for one, Bee had his voice box ripped out. Sorry, no. Damaged in battle, according to what Ratchet will later say in the movie. As for the radio thing, I think it's him scanning through stations that are broadcasting live.
What?
I don't... Is that supposed to be funny? It's not a sin of the movie, whatever it is.
The Autobots decide to crash land on Earth in the most way possible.
For one, they drop pods that have no planned trajectory for landing that can be controlled. For two, not a funny joke and not a sin of the movie.
This is easily 100 times cooler than Armageddon!
Whoa, the director of Transformers just slapped the guy who directed Armageddon.
Not funny and not a sin of the movie.
So all the Autobots just chose to be the first car they saw? The only reason Optimus Prime is a semi is because one just happened to drive by?
Yes, that's really how they do it. They know they have to disguise themselves as soon as possible, so yeah. They pick the first thing they see and scan it.
Wow, even alien robots know how to cash in on a good product placement opportunity.
Not a funny joke and not a sin of the movie.
There's a robot outside my room. Can I have a glass of water?
Not a funny joke and not a sin of the movie.
As far as I'm concerned, Optimus Prime's lips can go suck on the Batsuit nipples.
Oh, come on. They're not that bad, and you're not funny, and that's not a sin of the movie.
His vocal processes were damaged in battle. I'm still working on them.
So these alien robots can transform into any shape they want, but they can't fix a f***ing vocal processor?
A Transformer's vocal processor is a biomechanical part of them, much like the T-cog that allows them to transform. So it's much like an organ in a human, and those are not easy to regrow.
How the f*** does Optimus Prime know about any of these events?
You got another one here. In one of the movie prequel comics, Megatron left Cybertron by himself, then crash-landed on Earth. All the while, Optimus Prime was still on Cybertron and wouldn't have any kind of way of knowing what happened to Megatron.
Why did the police let this guy change his shirt between his arrest and his interrogation?
It's so funny. I'm laughing so hard and thinking, how is this a sin of the movie when it's not? They probably gave him a change of clothes.
Anthony Anderson starts eating the plate of donuts at 10:45 and finishes the plate at 10:45.
Yeah, alright, fine, you got another one.
Idaho plate.
No, there's totally still a donut on that plate.
Yeah, there is. Again, you got one.
Once again, no one notices large machines just hanging around in plain view.
It might be late enough at night that other people in the neighborhood are asleep. Maybe. I just don't want to admit that he could be right and that anyone could look outside and see the Autobots at any time.
This guy takes out the power, but then the power is all back on.
Considering that Sam's dad is using the flashlight, I would say that the power is not come back yet.
Well, here's John Turturro not doing the right
What does that even mean exactly?
thing.
You, in the training bra.
That statement is extra creepy a few seconds later when he does this.
He's a criminal. Criminals are hot.
Sending the dialogue in one scene for dialogue that happens in a later scene. That doesn't count in my book.
Awesome magnet weapon only impacts guns and no other metal things like cufflinks, watches, badges, cars, or other
Yep, this makes no sense at all.
transformers. Don't worry, Optimus Prime was using his soft legs to try and catch Sam and Michaela.
I've said it when I watched the movie that Sam should have some kind of head injury from that.
This is the image from Mars. Here's the image your special ops team was able to retrieve from the base attack.
No, the image from the base attack looked like this. You guys just photoshopped this later in the movie so that the two images would look a lot more similar.
He's right here. The actual image they took during the base attack and the one in his hand are not the same.
But I've seen goodness in them.
Man, Optimus Prime is really optimistic about humans after learning about us on the World Wide Web. He must have stayed away from the YouTube comments.
Ha ha, it's a joke and not a sin of the movie again.
Wants to use the cube
Transform human technology to take over the universe.
This plan is bullshit. When Megatron landed thousands of years ago, what technology was he going to use from back?
Or maybe when Megatron set off for Earth, he had a different plan and only now has a plan change because his current plan is really that bad one.
Then.
You guys know where it is, don't you?
Follow me.
Well, we might as well just show you every piece of f***ing classified information that we have. I mean, why not? You did buy that one car that turned out to be a Transformer.
Well, given that Sam has interacted with the Autobots for longer than any of the people in Sector 7, and his current knowledge of the Decepticons and a bit on their plan, Sam knowing more information is a good thing in this case.
President Hoover had the dam built around it to hide its energy.
And also control floods, provide irrigation water, and produce hydroelectric power using the Colorado River.
Haha, another joke and not a sin of the movie.
Did Starscream have to wait for takeoff clearance from the tower? Because I don't think they just let fighter jets take off without having some idea who's flying it and where it's going.
Starscream could easily have made them give him the clearance to take off without having to lose his disguise.
Wouldn't it be smarter if one or even all of the Autobots chose this important moment to turn into a plane or a helicopter instead of the same first car they saw after arriving on Earth? They even say we're autonomous robots, Autobots for short, meaning the auto in their name has nothing to do with the fact that they turn into cars.
I don't know if you've watched any other Transformers cartoons or read any of the comics, but there are very few Autobot flyers. It's usually just the aerial bots, Jetfire, and a few others. Sure, it would be convenient, but that's just the way the Autobots work, you know? Also, why did you think that the word auto in the word Autobots meant they turn into cars? You really should read into the history of Transformers and why Optimus Prime came up with the name Autobots. I'm not going to explain it here as it would take a lot of time.
Autobots learned English by studying the World Wide Web. Megatron learned English from being stuck in ice for thousands of years.
Another joke that is innocent of the movie.
It's okay that all these people die because they work for the government.
We never see them die here, so you can't really say for certain that those people died.
Michael Bay rips off the spin around 360 during a shootout shot from Bad Boys 2.
Oh, this movie does something from another movie, and that's not a sin of the movie.
And people make fun of J.J. Abrams for lens flare.
Joke that isn't a sin of the movie.
I leave my guys back there.
Yes, let's put the fate of the entire world in the hands of a horny, awkward teenager because you can't leave your men alone without you.
Well, it is an already small group of soldiers, and Lennox is a very skilled fighter, especially given that all the soldiers that take part in the Mission City battle are ones that survived the attack on the base at the beginning of the movie and when Scorponok attacks as well, so they have experience dealing with Cybertronians. So Lennox staying with his men makes more sense than him doing what Sam is about to do.
I guess this product placement opportunity was just too extreme for the other soft drink brands.
Aha! It's a joke. That's not a sin of the movie again.
Why does the Allspark only create evil Transformers and not good ones?
Okay, I will give you that one. I don't understand why all of the Cybertronians that the Allspark makes seem to be evil, because that's not how the Allspark works at all.
After 20 minutes of giant alien robots fighting in the street, how are there any pedestrians left to be running away when Optimus and Megatron fall?
Well, no one said that the city was being evacuated or took the time to do so ahead of time.
If I cannot defeat Megatron,
whom I need to thank for waiting patiently right now while I give you important instructions.
You must push the cube into my chest.
Yeah, another joke that is innocent of the movie. It's called being dramatic.
The Laurentian Abyss is 7 miles below sea level, deepest place on our planet.
No. That's not any more scientifically accurate than saying there's no gravity in space.
Well, he's right here. The Challenger Deep in the Marina Trench is actually the deepest place on Earth.
Oh yeah, he's married with a new baby. Remember when it felt like that was going to be important somehow?
It was never really that important in the first place. What's wrong with showing a soldier coming home to their family?
Why are all these Autobots just watching Sam and Michaela make out?
Robots in disguise. Plus, do you honestly think they care? If they've been on the internet, they've seen more than they already want to. So, the CinemaSins sin total for this movie is, but the sin total that I have come up with based on the sins I found in the video that I think are actual sins comes to the total of 18. So yeah, that's the end of the video, and you know what? I think I'm going to do this for all the CinemaSins videos on Transformers movies. So, Next one will be about everything wrong with Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, which is about a 20-minute video, so it's going to take a little bit longer to get done. That's all I have to say, so thanks for listening and goodbye.